I was like, oh, he's so cute. He's an artist. He seems like a really great guy. He seems like he loves Jesus. Well, I looked him up on Instagram. I looked at who he was following, tons of women he was following. I clicked on one and it was like almost like pornographic kind of photos. Today we're going to talk about questions you can ask a potential boyfriend before you even start dating with them to begin to discern who that person really is. And at the end, I'm going to share a bonus little tip that is so awesome that we have today to help you even more discern who that guy is before you start dating them. And I would even venture to say before you even go on one date with them. But before we get into those questions, if you are new here, my name is Molly, and what I do here on YouTube is help encourage women to kind of reject the lies of the culture and find fulfillment instead in Jesus Christ. And I share a lot about my divorce that I've gone through and single parenting and the things that I've learned through that experience. So I'd love to have you subscribe if you're new. If you've been here for a while on my channel and you enjoy my content and God has been using it in your life, I would love to have you jump on and join my little Patreon group. That is a way that you can support me financially per month to make these videos. So it can be in such a small amount, like $5 or $10 a month. I'd love to have you support this channel if God puts that on your heart. So I'm gonna leave the link down in the description box for that Patreon. It's basically a website that you can give financially to my YouTube channel. So I began to start thinking about questions I could ask a potential guy when I did online dating, because you know nothing about that person. I mean, you have that profile and it lists like if they're a Christian or not, if they smoke, if they drink, like, and a few details about themselves, but you really don't know very much at all about that person. And so I began to start thinking about like, how can I get into a conversation with this guy, like on a deeper level quickly without wasting time on just chit chat conversation? Because what's the point of that? And what I see so often with women and what I saw in myself is we basically begin to give our heart to somebody. We invest, I would say, maybe more our emotions in that person before we know the facts about who that person is. So basically, we've gone down this road of emotional investment, heart connection with that person, and suddenly maybe we learn the true facts about who that person is way down the road, and we've already invested so much in them that we have to begin to backtrack. Or on the opposite end, we just say, I've gone too far. Like, I really love and I care about this person, but you know what, I'm gonna look over those faults that are could be potentially big issues, but you know, I already really love and care about that person. And I hope that some of these questions will help you not invest so much of your heart before you know the facts about who someone is. So the first question I asked with online dating was, where do you go to church? Or do you go to church somewhere? And that's just a very easy way to start talking with someone. It's not intimidating to ask someone where you go to church. You could do this through online dating or even in person. So easy to ask. And what that's going to answer for you and what that's going to help you discern about that person is, one, if they say, well, like I'm not really going to a church right now, or I'm looking for a church right now. That could be a potential like cop out of saying I'm not really invested in my relationship with God. If they tell you I go to such and such church and it's a denomination that you do not go to. So for example, I'm non-denominational, but if I met someone and was talking to them and they were like, I go to a Pentecostal church, I would struggle. I'd have some struggles with that because I'm not into, personally, me and what I believe about God's word, speaking in tongues. And I believe in eternal security of salvation, and I have a view about spiritual gifts that might be different than someone who is Pentecostal. So that's going to show me maybe we're not on the same page. So asking where they go to church is a great question. And then you can also easily lead into, oh, so you go to such and such church, like how are you involved in that church, or do you serve in that church? That's a great way to know if that person is actually like committed to their church, or if they're just like a Sunday morning, sit in the pew and get up and leave get up and leave the next day, get up and leave and not be involved at all. So also I want to backtrack and say a little bit is I see people say, well, I just need to know if that person is a Christian or not. And I want to give you a warning to say that so many people can say they are a Christian, but really it's only in name and it's not in deed. And so if someone says they're a Christian, great. But to me, that doesn't really mean much because I want to know, what does that actually mean to that person to be a Christian? Are they reading the word daily? Are they actively involved in their church? I'm not saying you should ask all those questions on the first and foremost, but I want you to know that if someone just says they're a Christian, don't just go, oh great, we're on the same page, because you really may not be on the same page. Okay, so another question I have that I didn't really ask through online dating, but I've realized this is very important to getting to know a person, is asking them about their family, asking them about their relationship with their family. Just very easily say, tell me about your family, or what's your relationship like with your family? Why is this an important question? Because eventually you will hopefully join with that guy and have your own family with them. And so if they answer that question about their family, like, well, we're not really on good speaking terms, or I'm not really close with my parents, or, there's a lot of like toxic things in my family, and so I just don't go there. All of those things will give you just a little eye into who they are as a person, because people are a lot of a product of how they were raised. So I'm not saying that if someone's like, yeah, my family history is really rough, like that you should immediately say, well, can't date you because that's gonna be terrible, because people can grow through that, but they have to have had to do the work to heal from that rough family history so that they can know how to have a good family in the future. But I think it's a really good sign if someone is like, yeah, I'm really close with my parents, I love them, I really look up to them, they have a commitment to the Lord. Like, that's the ideal answer that you would like to get. You may not get that, but just getting to know their family a little bit is just very, very important. Another question you can ask is, tell me about how you came to know Christ, or would you mind sharing with me your testimony? This just very quickly gets to a deeper conversation of learning where that person is at with God. Because, if they answer something like, well, like I've always been a Christian, like I grew up in a Christian home, and that's kind of the extent of what they share, it doesn't to me sound like they have a personal relationship with God. But if they say something like, like, I grew up in a Christian home, but my faith became real at this age, and now I just realized just how important God is to me, and I want to devote my life to Him. Like, you're seeing more of this personal relationship with God that they're sharing with you, and that's a really good sign. Okay, and so the last and final question is something like, hey, have you dated a lot, or have you dated much? And that helps you get a window into that person's past history and hopefully give them the opportunity to open up. Like, what if they were engaged before? What if they've dated a lot of people? And I'm not saying that that's a sign that you shouldn't be with them, but to just open up that conversation to know where they're coming from, and to see if they're the type of person that doesn't take dating very seriously, and realize like the gravity and the seriousness of this. So those are the first questions that I would encourage you to ask, like even potentially before you go out on a date with them or on the first date. I don't think that these are super confrontive to ask. I know some women are a little bit timid, but I want you to know that what's the point of going on like 4 or 5 dates with someone and really barely knowing anything about them. You could be like, yeah, we've had so much fun, we had a great time, we did this and we did that, but you really don't know much about that person. So stop wasting your time and get a little courage, a little bit of bravery, and ask these questions, because it's going to open up some good conversation. And if that guy is not willing to answer some of these questions, then it shows you that these things aren't very important to them. And To me, that's a potential really big red flag. I said at the end I would share a little bonus tip for learning about a guy and getting to know if this is really a potential person for you or not, and that is the blessed gift of social media. Yes, I am encouraging you to get their social media handle and look at their Instagram page or look at their Facebook page and really look at their photos, look at their captions, look at who they're following, and look at who's commenting on their photos to really get to know more of who that person is. I know some people say you can't learn a lot about someone and what they post on social media, but I would beg to differ that you can learn a lot about somebody by what they post on social media. Because if they're talking about their love for the Lord, they're talking about family, they're sharing photos that are like wholesome and good, not photos of them like without their shirt on, working out in the gym, trying to show off. If they are following like other sites that are things that other people that you're like, yeah, I agree with those people. But if they're following a ton of women and you click on some of those women and they're women that are like posting very inappropriate photos, then to me that's a bad sign. And I'm sharing that tip with you because that happened with me with online dating. I looked up a guy that I was like, oh, he's so cute. He's an artist. He seems like a really great guy. He seems like he loves Jesus. Well, I looked him up on Instagram. I looked at who he was following, tons of women he was following. I clicked on one and it was like almost like pornographic kind of photos. Like it was just not good. And I was like, whoa, this person is not who they seem up front, at least in my opinion. So that was a really good sign for me to be like, all right, this is not gonna do anything. So I would encourage you to do that. Use that as a tool to really find out where that guy is coming from. And I would hope that they would do the same for you, to look you up online. And hopefully what you share on social media is a good reflection of who you truly are in your heart, because people are watching. I mean, bosses and businesses are using social media now to learn about people. So, hey, if they're doing it, then why wouldn't we be doing it? So that's what I wanted to end on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave in the comments any thoughts you have on this topic or questions you would add to ask a potential guy. All right, you guys, I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye.